Hi, and welcome everyone. Good evening. I'm gonna do sound check for a second. If someone can just either on the chat or unmute, tell me if you can hear me, because I know sometimes there are issues. So I just want to make sure that you can hear me. You can also just chat that yes, or unmute yourself and say, yes, we can hear you. I just need to know so I won't talk.
Hi, Michal, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening. I know we are getting deeper into the conversation, and I'm very excited about that. I want to start this evening by thanking ParentGood for hosting this series and really allowing many parents to have access for this very important information. And quickly, I also want to introduce myself to whoever is new and haven't been in the previous session. So my name is Michal Greenberg-Cohen. I'm a sex educator for parents, and I create brave spaces for parents to connect to themselves and their teenagers so that they can have intimate and powerful conversations with their teenagers about sexual topics. And that's exactly why I'm here. I am a strong believer in sharing this information with parents and really support them in having the conversation. So I want to quickly just refresh our memory for the two sessions that we had in the past 2 weeks. So we really, we laid the foundation for what is the path for positive sexuality, and what are the bricks, the foundation that we need to build and create with our children so that as they grow and become, 13 and then 15 and then 17, really how we can build that connection and have more in-depth conversation with our teenagers. And then last week we put more focus on healthy relationships and how does that should look like, and what we as parents can focus on to really make sure that our teenagers understand how healthy relationships should look like and really thrive and make sure that they are creating safe, and a healthy relationship. And also if they cannot, or like if something is, not if they cannot, but if they get into unhealthy relationship, what they can do. So that was the previous two sessions. And today we're going to go even deeper. And today's session is about intimate conversations. And especially I am going to focus on the pornography conversation, because I think it's something that is it's accessible a lot. And I think it's a great way to start actually more in-depth conversation with our teenagers about intimate topics and more sexual topics. And we're gonna review that today. So that's the intention for me for today, really go and dive deeper. And I also want to acknowledge the space, and I want to acknowledge the fact that I am talking about sensitive topics that you might feel uncomfortable, and I might, today maybe things that I'll share will really, you might be, triggered by it, or maybe you will be very concerned. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that maybe you will have all kinds of feelings or, shocked or fear that this is what happened. So first of all, it's okay if you have any of those feelings. And we also I'm going to make sure that I am not running and I'm not dumping on you too much information. And also, I also want to request that you will continue the participation. So it could either be with the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share. And again, I want to remind everyone that nothing, your name is not being recorded, the chat is not being recorded, and I'm not saying any names. So I am keeping everyone anonymous. And I really want to encourage you to participate, because I'm a strong believer that it's not only for me to share the information, it's for us to have a discussion. And that's my intention for today. So with that, let's start. And actually, to start today's session, I wanted to start with something more fun and light, because we're going to go deep and it's going to be heavy. I can tell you that. So what I created for you is a list of 7 names, and we're going to go name by name, and I want you to decide if that's a porn flick name or is that Ben and Jerry ice cream. So wait, give me a second. I prepare in advance. Let's see that you can see it. All right. And I'm also going to read it as well. So we have 7 names, and we're going to go name by name and see if anyone knows if it's a porn flick or a Ben and Jerry ice cream. And I'm going to choose 2 colors. I'll go with the easy one, blue or green, so we can just, know what is which. So first one, American cream. So what do you think? And again, you can either unmute yourself or put in the chat. What do you think? Is that Ben and Jerry ice cream or a porn flake? What's your guess?
Porn.
Porn flake? Okay, anyone else want to make another guess? And I have to tell you that because of this activity, I had to actually learn some Ben and Jerry ice cream flavors. So anyone else want to make a guess if it's a porn flake or a Ben and Jerry ice cream? All right, so this is true. It is a porn flake. So great. Right. Let's do porn flake. Okay. So the next one is shreddy balls. So what do you think? Shreddy balls, is that a porn flake or a Ben and Jerry? What will be your guess? Any guess? There is no right or wrong.
Porn flick?
Porn flake? Okay. Who else? Anyone else? What do you think? All right, so apparently Shreddy Balls is a Ben and Jerry ice cream. So, but it might not be on the market anymore, but it's Ben and Jerry. All right, next one is Chubby Hubby. So what do you think, Chubby Hubby? Porn flake or Ben and Jerry? Ice cream. What else? Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right, yes, it's true. It's an ice cream. It's another Ben and Jerry flavor. All right, perfect. All right, so that's also Ben and Jerry. New York super fat and chunky. What do you think? Ben and Jerry's porn flake? Any voting for that? Anyone ate that ice cream, or does that sound like a porn flake? Though it's tricky between ice cream and porn flake based on this activity. So what do you think? All right, so this one is a porn flake. All right, so that's a porn flake. Late night snack. What do you think? Late night snack. Would Ben and Jerry create something like that? Anyone want to guess? An ice cream or a corn flake? So late night snack is actually a Ben and Jerry ice cream. Ben and Jerry's. All right, Harry Garcia. What do you think? Harry Garcia. Porn, ice cream. So Harry Garcia is also a porn flake. And the last one, Caramel Sutra. That should be easy. Porn flake. So Caramel Sutra is actually a Ben and Jerry ice cream. And I can share with you that when I was in the summer, I visited my family in Israel. And then my grandfather pulled out of his refrigerator Caramel Sutra, the ice cream. And I'm like, oh, I know that ice cream. So it's definitely a Ben and Jerry ice cream. But it was the first time that I actually ate that. So so this is just like, to start the evening in a fun way and get us into the idea that we're going to talk about pornography. So, so what I want to do now is really get into deeper in the conversation about pornography and how we can actually use what we think about pornography or the challenges that we have about pornography to really think about what is important for us to talk about with our teenagers. So give me a second. So we're going to go back to the challenges breakdown. And the reason that I'm actually doing it again is because I want you to start being in the muscle, to really practice it. That every time we feel like, hey, this is a challenge I have, hey, this is a challenge my teenager has, then instead of saying, I don't know what to do, actually say, okay, here, I have an opportunity. Let me really check what the opportunity, how I want to use that opportunity. What is the conversation I want to have with them? So when we're talking about or we're thinking about pornography, I want to think with you, what would you say are the challenges that you have in mind that our teenagers might experience if, or I want to say when, but let's keep it the if for now, if they watch pornography. So just, and again, there's no right or wrong. There's no too much. I know pornography might trigger stuff. So just like, share, right? I'm going to write everything that you're going to share regarding challenges that you feel are happening to teenagers that are watching pornography. And it doesn't need to be your teenager, but if you think about it, what comes up for you? What are the challenges? What would you say? And by the way, you don't need to, like, the fact that you know or think about challenges doesn't mean that you watch pornography. Like, if you think about it, we don't need to watch pornography to think about the challenges or like even like how we feel about it and what we think that is being introduced on porn. So everything that comes up for you doesn't mean that you watch it. So, and I also, everything I shared with parents, I always tell them that in order for us to talk with our teenagers about pornography, doesn't mean that we need to watch it. There are lots of conversation we can have without even watch a single porn video. So what comes up for you when you think about pornography? What are the challenges?
Body image.
It's what again?
Body image.
Body image. So like low or like maybe incorrect body image?
I think, yeah, both incorrect and low, because they see something that is, I don't know if it's unreal, but it's a movie. So everything looks better there.
All right. So like I'll put, so like false or low body image. Great. And you can either chat, put in the chat or unmute yourself. Again, no names attached to it. So we have false or low body image here, so you can see. What else? What are we worried about that our children will think about if they watch pornography? And as a mother, I know that we have a lot of worries. So, so share with me, what are your worries?
Violence.
A what?
Violence.
Violence. Okay. Violence. Perfect. What else? And you can just put in the chat if you feel uncomfortable unmuting yourself. What else? How about I like, like removal of body hair, right? Like this is something that porn might implement, or like porn might suggest to people that everyone removes all their body hair. So and I like to raise that because many times we feel super uncomfortable to talk about that. So so this is one thing. What else? False expectations about relationships. Right. Right. What else? I also want to add lack of contraception, right? Like in pornography, there are none. So everyone having sex with no contraception at all. And if you think about it, our kids, when they're not watching pornography, or they're not watching movies. If you think about it, actually, even in the movies, many times there are no contraception. But like we always like, oh, you have to use contraception when you're having sex, or like using a condom. And then they watch movies or they watch porn and there's like none. So they actually, when they see the acts, they don't see the contraception involved. So in their mind, visually, it just, maybe they know in a way that they're supposed to use it, but then they see that it's actually, no one is using it. So lack of contraception. All right, I'll take one more. So what will be one more challenge that our teenagers might have when, if they get exposed to pornography?
Consent, maybe?
So like there is no consent, right? There is no like verbal consent in porn.
Right.
So no consent. Okay, perfect. And also, I want to add, and I know sometimes you don't think about it, that I'm going to put STIs. And if you remember, it's sexually transmitted infections. And the reason I'm putting STIs is that in pornography, and also in the movies, but in pornography, everyone's are always healthy, and there is zero conversation about getting tested and talking about STIs. And so again, it's like a missing conversation that's not happening inside sexual activities. So these are a few of the challenges that teenagers might experience if they get exposed to pornography. And I can share with you that I'm sure, if we were really having like a long discussion, we probably would have come up with many more. But let's start with that. And what I want to do now is, I want to go to, okay, so if those are the challenges, what do we actually want to have them know that it's I want to say, positive, that comes in actually positive sexuality. So, we're going to do again of like focusing of what is important for me, for them to know when it comes to positive sexuality. So let's brainstorm together. What would you say is important that you want them to know when it comes to positive sexuality? And again, there is no right or wrong. It's like when you think about it, what you want them to know. And you know what? I'll start, because the first word that comes to my mind is pleasure, right? Like, which is something that is very hard for us to talk about. And then I believe it's very important for us as parents to talk about, to share about that, to really talk about it, because it's such a like a taboo to talk about. So I'm going to put pleasure. What else? What else would you put as, positive sexuality? What comes up for you? Like, what's important for you that your child will know, will be aware of? And I know that it's hard for us to think about our teenagers as sexual human beings. They are still our babies, or, they're just like still children, which is true. But if you think about it, and we spoke about it in our first session, when they're teenagers, that's exactly when their hormones, the sex hormones, starting regulate in their body. And they do have sexual thoughts. They do have sexual feelings. And our desire to protect them is not actually it's like doing them disservice of really giving them the tools, the information they need, so that they can make the best decisions for them. So I want to encourage you not to not to be in your head of like, I don't want to think about my child, my teenager, as a sexual human being, but really about how I can, what is important for me to think about topics that actually I want them to know about. Maybe not tomorrow, but as they, for them to be like a healthy sexual adult, what do I want them to know about? What do I want them to understand? So what comes to you? What would you say? What's important for you? Acceptance of themselves, or acceptance of their partner? Both?
Yeah, both. Themselves. I thought about themselves, but also about their partners.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. acceptance, self and partner. Perfect. What else? What else? Acceptance. What's important for us? And it's important for me to do this with you because I think that this is where we bring what's important for us. And that's like exactly how we start to exercise talking about it, because this is such an uncomfortable conversation to talk about. So here we are, just able to speak about it. So whatever comes to your mind. What else? I like to say, I call it the right to say no, right? Like this is like many times, like if you think about it, consent is a lot about you need to hear the yes. And there's like a lot of the conversation around the yes. And I like also not to shift, but to add that I call it the right to say no, because we don't tell them, hey, you have the right. And by the way, it goes to all genders. You have the right to say no in any moment, in any time. So that's something that I like to add. All right. So we have the right to say no. We have pleasure, acceptance, self and others and partners. What else? What would you add to your list? What's important for you? And I'll drink meanwhile. I'm sure like you have your own ideas and your own thoughts. What would you say? One more. Help me with one more. Though I'm sure there are many. And you can also think about the challenges and think about, well, if these are the challenges, what will be like a positive sexuality? Like, what would you say? Let's think about one more. And I promise you after that, we're gonna, I'm gonna share with you some information and we really go and think about how we can have the conversation. But what would you say is one more item on the positive sexuality? Because I think it's important for us to think about it. What do we want to talk about? And what does it mean for us, positive sexuality? So what do you say? Anyone?
I think a part of positive sexuality is to be able, like, to feel comfortable to talk about those things, because it's not a taboo. So if we're talking with them about it, it's already, I think, we're on the way to positive sexuality.
Okay, perfect. So like comfortable talking about it. Let's do that. Perfect. And I want to add that I think that when we are comfortable talking about it, and then I'm going to use the word train our children to be comfortable talking about it, then they will be able to create a more connected relationship, and they will be able to communicate more about their needs and also help their partner share about their needs. So it's definitely something. I love that it's exactly like the the butterfly effect of here I am doing something that I know will not only affect my son or daughter, but really like others. So definitely, that's perfect. All right. So we were going through the challenges and then through the positive sexuality. And I want you to really be in that mindset of, okay, these are the challenges. What is the opportunity? How do I want to use that for a conversation? And before we really gonna dive into like a conversation, I want to first share with you a few data, some data about pornography that I think that will make, this is how we can be on the same page when we actually having this conversation. So first of all, I want to share with you that according to pornography website, 80% of all their users are using a cell phone, a smartphone, to access pornography. And I think that it's important because if you have a child that has a mobile phone, a smartphone, then think about how easy it is for them to access pornography, because we know that usually people with mobile phones are accessing pornography. So I think that we need to understand that even if we have a full filtering system in our home, usually the access to pornography is going to be from a mobile phone, and usually it's not going to be from our home. So this is one. The second data I want to share with you is that today in the US, the average age for first-time exposure to pornography it's between 11 to 13. It used to be 13, but the numbers are dropping. So now it's more closer to 11. And definitely the pandemic didn't help. So the fact that children are more in front of mobile phones and in front of computers, there is higher chances for a first-time exposure in a younger age. And I also want to add that the first time is usually unintentional, meaning they are not looking for pornography. They're not saying, oh, I want to watch pornography. No, it's either it's a pop-up, they were viewing something else, and then there is a pop-up of a porn video, or they were searching on Google like pork or kissing, or maybe even just they heard the word sex and they're like, oh, I want to know what does it mean, or images, and then they do sex on Google. And it's it's really easy to see videos once you start searching for that. So, and it's important for us to understand that they're not looking for it. But I also want to add that by the age of 16, data shows that 80% of boys and 60% of girls have seen pornography at least one time. So we know that as they age, as they become older, there's higher chance that they are watching pornography, or they even were exposed to it at least one time. And I think it's important for us to understand that, because I want parents to start shifting the thought from if my son or daughter are going to watch pornography, but really to when they actually going to watch pornography, and am I going to talk with them about it before or after. So I think that when we understand this data, then we know for sure that, hey, like we need to talk about it, because they're probably going to watch it. And again, maybe not in purpose, but they're still going to see it. So this is like the first data that I want to share with you. And then, and here, please take a big breath with me. I want to share with you, they did a survey and check with young people what they actually watching, right? So like if when they are watching pornography, what do they see? Because it's like, let's figure out, let's understand exactly what they're watching. And this is why I believe that if you know the data, you don't need to watch pornography in order to talk with your teen about pornography. So the first number I'm going to share with you is that 69% have seen violence or aggression. And when I say violence or aggression, I'm talking about pulling hair, choking, slapping, 69%. 72% have seen non-consensual activity. So it means an activity that for sure they knew that there was not a definitive consent. 91% have seen a man dominating or controlling another person. And then 70% have seen things that made them feel uncomfortable. So these are like big numbers. And I think it's tough. It's hard for parents to hear that. I know, like for me, the first time when I heard those, I'm like, oh, like this is, I don't want to use the word horrible, but this is sad. Like this is sad that this is what our children that are being exposed, whoever is going to be exposed to pornography, that's probably what they're going to watch. And then, if I think about, if I'll go to the challenges, I will put all this in the challenges, right? Like violence, non-consensual, dominating, right? Things that make me feel uncomfortable. What does it mean about me, about sex, right? Like all that. Those are like real challenges, and they watch that. And no one is talking to them about it. So if you think about it, think about like they have all those they have all those visuals that tells them a story, and they're like, they don't know what to do with it. And they don't know who to talk to because it's taboo. Like no one is talking to them about it. They don't know how their parents will react, right? Like they don't want to be penalized or shamed or feel guilt, but inside they will actually start feeling guilt and shame maybe because they're watching it and they might have reaction to it. So like all that is like inside and internal, and they don't talk about it. So I think that when we start realizing that, we realize that, hey, I actually have an opportunity. I have an opportunity to talk with them, actually, to raise the things that I really believe it's important for them to know, so that they will not be impacted so much by pornography, but really know how to shift what they watch to this, to the positive sexuality. And I think that when we realize that, this is where we have so much power over pornography. And if you think about it, and yes, it's true, I'm using pornography because I think it's something that is very accessible and exists in our teenagers' reality, but it goes anywhere, right? It's like even let's put pornography aside. Like think about all the movies they're watching, like the sex they see in the movies, like, or all the maybe advertising, the idea of sex that is being shared on the media, right? Like is it like the challenges, or is it the positive sexuality, and how we can actually use that to bring them here to the positive sexuality. So I'm going to pause for a second to see if you have any questions. And I also need to drink. And I also want to acknowledge the fact that it was a lot of information, and it's not, it's like an uncomfortable information to get, like to hear. It might feel, you might feel like awkward or like intimidate, listen to it. So totally, I get it. And I just want to acknowledge the space. But also, if you have any questions, please, you can either unmute yourself or put in the chat box. Again, no names. I'm happy to answer before we move forward. And I also need to ring. All right, silence. So I know you're all thinking about, okay, what am I supposed to do with all this information? Right. And I'm going to be like completely honest with you. I could be with you 1 hour and just in 1 hour, just share with you all the information or a lot of information that I have about pornography that I think will like blow your mind and you will be like, oh my God. But I actually think that that's not going to be effective. Yes, the information is important and the data is important. But I also believe that we need to do it slowly. So what I actually want to do with you now is really talk about, okay, so let's use the data that I already shared and think about how a conversation should look like. Or I actually want to say, even like before that, I want to share with you some ideas on how to have the conversation and what to focus on when we are having the conversation. So, so the first question that many times many parents ask me is when to start. When do I think that we need to start having a conversation about pornography? And my question, I have two layers of the answer. The first one is, I believe that we need to start the conversation when we give them a smartphone. We need to actually tell them, you know what, you have a smartphone, great. You have access to the internet when you are not at home, right? And then say, you know what, you might get a pop-up or something that you won't control and it's not your fault, that will have naked people on it. They might even have sex. And remember, we shared that children above the age of 8 should understand the idea of sex. It's normal. And then you need to tell them that, it's not their fault and they should turn it off and also let you know that it happened so you can like make sure that it's not going to happen again. So and I'm sharing this because usually we give our children a smartphone in a younger age than 13. So this is something that when we give them the smartphone, we actually acknowledge the fact that we literally gave them a device that might give them access to nudity images and to explicit sexual content that we might not be able to control. But we need to understand as parents that when we give smartphones, that's what we're doing. And it's a lot of responsibility from our end, but also we need to share it with them because we probably are going to give them the smartphone. So this is layer one. And then the second layer will be that I believe that we need to talk about this with once our child is at the age of 13, whether they identify as, whether it's like people with penises or with vulva, we need to have the conversation with them because by the age of 13, we already know that's the average. And there is higher, like more and more as they grow, there is higher chance they will be exposed. We're probably not going to know about it. We're probably not going to share that they saw something. So it's better for us to at least start a conversation. So we are telling them, you know what, like we know that that might happen, and we know that you might not share with us. But we want you to, and then that's exactly, and we're going to talk about it, you might be exposed to pornography. And let's talk about it, right? So at least we're acknowledging the fact that we know that they might watch it. And we are telling them, and it's important for me, I want to talk about it. So this is number one. And then my second tip about having conversation is that after I acknowledge that they might watch it, when I want to talk about pornography or any aspect inside pornography, don't make it about them. Don't ask them, have you watched pornography? Because then we put them on the defensive side. Or don't tell them, if you watch pornography, then you might see violence Or if you watch pornography, you might see a man dominating another person, right? Like, because then it will be like, oh my God, like, if they watch it and they will be like, oh my God, like, did I do something wrong? Or was it something wrong that happened? It's really like, it's like they will feel that they are going to they're getting accused. My advice is actually to just talk in general. So not about them, but acknowledging that that when young people are watching pornography, they get exposed to violence or aggression. And you can even say, maybe pulling hair or, or choking, and that might feel uncomfortable. And that maybe they will, not them, again, that people who watch pornography, they might see non-consensual acts, right? So you're not telling, I know that you watch, you're not asking them if they've seen it. You actually acknowledging the fact that that people might be exposed to it. And when we do that, we actually allowing them to feel more safe in the conversation, and then also ask questions, right? Maybe they will have questions about that, even if they even never watch it, but they will be interested about what happened if you watch it, or what does it mean, right? But it starts a conversation. And remember that let them, if they choose to share with you if they watch or if they haven't, but it doesn't need to be the main reason you're talking with them, because probably there is higher chance they will not share with you if or when they are watching pornography. But you still can have a very deep conversation with them about all this in relationship to porn without even asking them if they watch it. And they might actually, if they know that it's not about them, they might be more engaged and feel more safe to really have a conversation around that. I'm going to pause for a second because I need to drink, and also I want to know if there are any questions that you want to share with me. So about those two tips. It's not everything, but I need to drink and I want to see if you have any questions. And again, unmute yourself or put it in the chat. I know it's a heavy topic and it's sensitive, and it's it might be challenge to talk about it. Okay. So my last tip for today is something that I think is super important because I think that we have as a society, and I was really strong advocate for the idea that let's tell them it's not real. But I actually shifted and I changed to, well, it's not real, but it is real. And the idea of shifting it, and I think that it's important for us also as parents to think about it like that, is that at the beginning, I always said, hey, tell them that whatever they see, it's not real. It's the same as when you watch Marvel or Star Wars, that whatever you watch, it's not real. Iron Man doesn't exist. And Captain America is not a real person, the character of Captain America, right? So they get it that it's a movie. And then I was like, so the same comes with pornography. It's a movie, right? There are performers, there is a script, it's just a movie. However, the thing is that when it comes to pornography, the sex is actually real, if you think about it. There is a penis, there is a vagina, there is an intercourse or anything else. This is real. It's not fake. And when I actually, if I will say, hey, it's not real, then when they watch it, they'll see no, mommy actually doesn't get it. It is real, right? So I actually shifted the conversation And I actually believe in saying, whatever you're going to see in pornography, it is real. It is real sex, right? They are actually having sex. It's like real people having real sex. Yes, there is a script. Yes, there is a camera, but the sex is real. And here is where, like, your opportunity, because this is when they actually listen to you, because like, oh my God, like, it's real. But then you say, but let's talk about what's not real inside that sex. Let's talk about everything that's missing inside that real sex. Because if we won't talk about that, then we actually live in, like, we're actually telling our kids, hey, this is sex. This is how sex should look like, because no one else is talking how sex should look different. So for them, this is real sex, and this is how sex should look like. This is how they should behave. This is how their partner should behave. This is how, their partner should look like, and this is how maybe, their body should look like. And that's the comparison will come from that angle. But when we actually say, when we're willing to take the conversation and say, the sex in pornography is real, but I want also to add what's not real, right? Or not what's not real, what is missing from that sex. I think this is where that's exactly the opportunity for us to talk about the positive sexuality aspects that we want them to have. Because that, when they will watch pornography, they will then say to themselves, okay, I get it. This is real sex. I get it. It's like real intercourse or anything else. But I also remember that this is what's missing. And I also remember what I should look for when I am in a relationship. And I think that this is where the power is. And I think that this is why we need to do all this journey, so that we are more able to be like really real and honest in the conversation and think about what's important for me. So like, if I want to say to them, and really I want to encourage each one of you to take that and think about it when you are having the conversation, right? So if I want to tell them the sex in pornography is real, however, what is missing inside, think about what is important for you. Like, what is the positive sexuality messages that you want to share with them? And then, don't talk about all of it in one time, but just, start with one topic that is important for you and explain why you think it's missing. And then like ask them what they think about it, right? Just have a conversation. And again, if you think about it, this conversation doesn't mean anything about if they watch pornography or not, or what they think about pornography. It's really allowing us to focus on the positive sexuality, on the relationships we want them to have, on the healthy habits and mindset that we want them to have. And I think that that's what, for me, that's what really, really important. The pornography is not really the issue. It's actually, I see that in a way as a vehicle to have the conversation on a deeper level and to really make, help them think about it. Like, think about the fact that, like, not bringing pornography as the core education for them, sex education, but really about, really, that's when we actually make pornography like only a movie and not anything beyond that. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to see if you have any questions about that. And we have a few minutes, so I would love, if you have any questions or comment, just share. And I know it's like heavy, and it's not like a topic that we enjoy unmuting ourselves and asking questions. But this is why I'm here. And also, I want to acknowledge the fact that you are here and you took the hour to be here with me. So let me know if you have any questions. And you already know I can talk about everything, so there are no wrong questions.
Thank you, Micha. I just wanted to say thank you. It was very interesting, and you gave a lot of helpful tips on how to talk about it with our children. And also, I loved it when you say that like the porn is just a tool for us to start talking with them about it and actually like teaching them about healthy relationships. So yeah, that's what I took. Thank you.
Perfect. And thank you so much. And really, I think that it's a great, what you shared, it's really true of like, when we then think about, hey, it's not actually about talking about pornography, I'm talking about healthy relationship, then it's easier for us also to address it. It's easier for us to think about it and to think about, to make it like more accessible for us, even in the conversation. So thank you for sharing that. I'll wait for one more if anyone has like a question or a comment. All right, perfect. So I hope that this session wasn't too overwhelmed. I know that this is a heavy topic, but I really hope that you took at least one thing out of this session and you know better how to start a conversation with your son or daughter, because that's what I really want to encourage you to do, of not being afraid to start a conversation. And I really hope that in the 3 series that we wrote together, that really gave you the foundation and the confidence to start. And you know what? Even if it's not going to be perfect, just do it, because you're showing your child that it's important for you, and you're going to learn and you're going to tweak, and you're going to also feel your son or daughter, and then see, what's important for you, and then keep being in the conversation. So I really want to thank everyone for spending the time with me, and I really hope that this was beneficial for you. It was really, I'm very happy that I was able to share this information with everyone. And thank you again to ParentGood for hosting. And also, if anyone wants to ask me additional questions, then you can either email me through ParentGood, or you can, have a consultation session with me. And I'm happy to keep the conversation and to keep supporting you wherever you are in your journey. So really thank you, everyone. And I'm really encouraging you and wishing you great conversation with your teenagers. So thank you.